Welcome, my friend. Today, we're going to talk about something truly life-changing. It's a simple idea, but it's like a superpower if you use it right. Imagine waking up every morning and knowing you can get the most difficult task done first, the one you're dreading, the one that feels like wrestling with a giant frog. Sounds funny, right? But this idea is called Eat That Frog. And trust me, it's all about becoming unstoppable in your daily life. Stick with us, because by the time you finish this video, your productivity will skyrocket, and you'll be ready to embrace challenges like never before. Just remember, every frog you eat today is one less frog haunting you tomorrow. Now, what does it mean to eat your frog? No. We're not talking about food. Your frog is your biggest, ugliest, most important task of the day. It's the one you're tempted to avoid because it feels tough or boring, but it's the task that holds the most value, the one that will make the biggest difference if you complete it. Picture this. You wake up, and right there on your plate is a big, slimy frog. You don't want to eat it, but if you do, the rest of your day only gets better. That's how it works. When you handle your hardest task first, everything else feels easier. Think about it. Have you ever had a huge list of things to do, and instead of starting with the hard stuff, you keep doing the small, easy tasks? It feels like progress at first, but then you realize that the important task, your frog, is still waiting for you. It's staring at you with its beady little eyes until you deal with it. Not only does it make you feel nervous, but it also keeps you from fully enjoying the other things in your day. Here's the secret. When you eat your frog first, you get the hard stuff out of the way, and you feel lighter, stronger, and more productive. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I know which task is my frog? Great question. Your frog is always the task that will have the most impact on your success. It might be that report you've been dreading to write, the difficult phone call you've been procrastinating, or a decision you've been scared to make. It's the thing that makes you cringe, but deep down, you know how important it is. Once you find your frog, focus on it with all your energy. Remember, the more you focus, the faster you improve. Fun fact: experts say that to eat your frog, you need to have a plan. You can't just stumble into your day wondering what to do. You need to look at your list the night before or early in the morning and decide, what's my frog today? Make it clear in your mind which task deserves your first bit of energy. Planning is powerful. It's like setting a GPS for your brain, and that brings clarity. But here's the thing. Don't wait until you feel ready to eat your frog. Feelings are tricky. Your brain is always trying to keep you comfortable, so instead of waiting for perfect motivation, dive in. Take action. Once you begin, you'll find it's actually easier than you thought. And here's a little challenge. Starting tomorrow morning, identify one frog for the day. Commit to eating it first thing. Deal? You can do this. Stay with me, because the journey to mastering productivity is about to get even more exciting. Ready for the next part? Let's make eating frogs sound as fun and rewarding as it can be. So, are you ready to dive deeper into this exciting concept and transform the way you tackle your day? Let's keep moving forward. Trust me, the way you approach your frogs will never be the same again. Here's something interesting about eating your frog. It's not just about getting things done. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Think of it like this. Every time you eat a frog, you're building a habit. And habits are like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they become. At first, it's tough. That big, challenging task might feel like climbing a mountain, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Each day, your confidence grows because you're not running away from your responsibilities anymore. You're standing tall and saying, "Bring it on, world." Now let's talk about a common enemy we all face: procrastination. Procrastination is sneaky, isn't it? It whispers things like, "You'll get to it later," or "It's okay to scroll through social media for a bit." Before you know it, hours have slipped through your fingers, and your frog is still sitting there, waiting. The truth is, procrastination feels good in the moment, but it steals your time and energy. The more you let it take over, the harder it gets to focus. But here's the bright side: you can beat it. Eating your frog is the ultimate cure for procrastination. Action always beats hesitation. Take the first bite of that frog and suddenly, you're free. To make this easier, let's think about priorities for a second. You can't do everything at once, and that's okay. Not all frogs are created equal. Some are small, and some are massive. The trick is to prioritize the big, juicy ones first. Those are the tasks that really make a difference. Remember, your energy is strongest in the morning, so use it wisely. Instead of wasting your freshest energy on tiny distractions, invest it in something worthwhile. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will make the biggest impact? That's your frog. Focus on it like a laser. Oh, and here's a fun idea you can try. Reward yourself after you eat your frog. Think of something you love. Maybe a piece of chocolate, a short walk outside, or even an episode of your favorite TV show. Use the reward as a little motivation to get started. Tell yourself, once I finish this task, I get my treat. It's like training your brain to associate eating frogs with something positive. Over time, your brain will stop resisting, and you'll actually look forward to tackling those hard tasks. Isn't that cool? Here's another tip, and it might surprise you. When you can, break your frog into smaller pieces. Sometimes it's not the whole task that feels intimidating, it's just the size of it. Let's say your frog is writing a long essay. Instead of thinking about the entire essay, focus on writing the introduction first. Then move to the next piece. Before you know it, the frog is gone. It's like slicing it up into bite-sized chunks. You can handle it step by step. The more you break it down, the easier it flows. And hey, let me tell you something exciting. You're already empowering yourself by learning this concept today. Not everyone takes the time to learn how to be more productive or overcome procrastination, but you're here and taking action. That's amazing. It shows that you're ready to grow, to push yourself, and to make every day count. Keep going, because you've got what it takes. Have you ever thought about why we avoid frogs in the first place? It's not because we can't handle them. It's usually because we overthink them. Our brains are funny like that. We look at a task and tell ourselves stories. It's going to take forever. What if I mess up? Or, I don't know where to start. These thoughts make the frog look scarier than it actually is. But here's the truth. Frogs aren't as bad as they seem. In fact, most of the time, the fear of doing something is worse than the actual doing of it. Think of the last time you finally finished a hard task. Didn't it feel like a weight was lifted off your shoulders? That's the magic of action. It's the ultimate remedy for overthinking. Here's a little trick to outsmart your brain. Start with just 5 minutes. That's right, only 5. Tell yourself, I don't have to finish this task right now. I just have to work on it for 5 minutes. This is called the 5-minute rule. Once you get started, something amazing happens. You gain momentum, and suddenly, it doesn't feel so hard anymore. Most of the time, you'll end up working far longer than 5 minutes because starting is the hardest part. That small push is enough to get your mind rolling, and before you know it, your frog is halfway gone. Speaking of starting, let's discuss the power of focus. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Your phone buzzes, a notification pops up, and suddenly you're scrolling instead of working. Distractions eat up your time and your attention, leaving your frog untouched. But here's a secret. Deep, focused work is your greatest weapon. When you work with full concentration, even for short periods, you achieve more than hours of scattered effort. Try this. Create a distraction-free zone. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and put your phone on silent. For the next 20-30 minutes, give all your energy to just one task, your frog. You'll be amazed at how powerful focus can be. Let me share something fun. Your brain loves victories. Think about video games. You complete a level, and the game rewards you with a sound, a score, or a little animation. Your brain gets excited because it loves that feeling of accomplishment. You can use this same idea in real life. After you eat your frog, take a moment to celebrate. Say to yourself, "Yes, I crushed it," or do a little dance if you feel like it. These tiny celebrations trick your brain into craving more wins. It's a great way to stay motivated and keep up the momentum. Now here's a mindset shift for you. Instead of dreading your frogs, start seeing them as opportunities. I know, it sounds crazy. But imagine this. Every difficult task you face is like a golden ticket. It's your chance to grow, to learn, to prove to yourself what you're capable of. Successful people aren't the ones who avoid hard work. They're the ones who embrace it. They know that each time they tackle something big, they're leveling up in life. And guess what? You have that same power within you. Every frog you eat builds grit, discipline, and a stronger version of you. How incredible is that? Here's one last thought for this chunk. Don't let perfectionism stop you. Sometimes we avoid doing a task because we want it to be perfect. What if I make a mistake? What if it's not good enough? Sound familiar? But perfectionism is another form of procrastination. It keeps you stuck, waiting, and second-guessing. Instead of aiming for perfect, aim for progress. Just do your best and let go of the need for everything to be flawless. Remember, done is better than perfect, and every step you take moves you forward. You're on fire now. Look how far you've come in understanding the power of eating that frog. Let's dive even deeper because every bit of this journey is making you stronger and more prepared to face your day head on. Let's keep it rolling. You've got this. Let's talk about mornings. Mornings are magical. They set the tone for your entire day. Have you ever noticed that when your morning starts off productive, the whole day feels like a win? That's because mornings are when your brain is most fresh, creative, and full of energy. So, what does this mean for your frog? It means you've got to tackle it early, right at the start of your day. Don't wait. Don't scroll on your phone. Don't get pulled into answering emails or messages. Instead, tell yourself, before anything else, I'll eat my frog. That's the golden rule of productivity. Tackle the hardest thing first when you're at your best. It's the ultimate way to seize the day. Here's a fun way to think about it. Imagine your willpower is like a battery. When you wake up, it's fully charged. As the day goes on, that energy drains little by little. If you save your hardest task for the evening, you'll find yourself saying, "I'm too tired," or "I'll do it tomorrow." Sound familiar? That's why you need to strike while the iron's hot, while your willpower battery is full. It's a simple habit, but it creates results that will blow your mind. Now let's talk about excuses because, let's be honest, we all make them. It's too hard. I don't have enough time. I'm not in the mood. These excuses are your brain's way of protecting you from discomfort. Our minds are wired to choose the easy path, but growth doesn't happen on the easy path. Growth happens when you show up anyway, even when you don't feel like it. Here's a trick. When excuses pop up, challenge them. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is it just resistance speaking? Most of the time, you'll realize that it's just a story you're telling yourself. And remember this, the more you push past excuses, the stronger your discipline becomes. Let me share a little secret about people who achieve amazing things. They understand the power of consistency. You don't need to eat your frog perfectly. You just need to do it consistently. Think of it like planting seeds. Every time you complete an important task, you're planting a seed for success. At first, it feels small, like nothing much is happening. But keep planting those seeds every single day, and soon you'll have a garden of accomplishments. Consistency is key because the more you learn, the more capable you become. One frog a day. It's not too overwhelming, is it? But over the weeks and months, it builds into something huge. Here's another life-changing tip. Visualization. Before you begin your day, close your eyes for just a moment and picture yourself eating your frog. Imagine yourself successfully completing the task, feeling proud, and enjoying the freedom it brings. Visualization might sound simple, but it's a powerful tool for motivation. Your brain can't always tell the difference between imagination and reality. So when you visualize success, it inspires your brain to act accordingly. Even professional athletes use this trick. They imagine themselves winning before the game even starts. You can do the same with your frogs. See it, believe it, and then take action to make it real. And can we take a moment to talk about energy? Energy is everything when it comes to being productive. If you're low on energy, even the easiest tasks feel like climbing a mountain. So, how do you keep your energy high? Simple things make a big difference. Stay hydrated, eat nourishing foods, get enough sleep, and move your body. A quick walk or even a few stretches can work wonders for waking up your mind. When your body feels good, your brain works more efficiently, and eating that frog feels so much easier. One last thought for now. Be kind to yourself. Nobody is perfect, and no one gets everything done every single day. Sometimes you'll eat your frog and sometimes you won't. That's okay. What matters is that you keep trying. Progress is a journey, not a destination. Celebrate your wins, learn from your slips, and remind yourself that every new day is a fresh opportunity to try again. You're doing something amazing for yourself just by learning this, and I'm so proud of the effort you're putting in. You're unstoppable. Look at you, soaking up all this inspiration and turning it into action. Every step you take is one step closer to becoming a productivity powerhouse. Let's keep the momentum alive and dive into the next exciting part of our journey. Buckle up. It's going to be a good one. One of the biggest game changers when eating your frog is understanding the power of small wins. Imagine this. You start your day by crushing the hardest, most important task. How does that make you feel? Like a champion, right? That sense of accomplishment sparks what I like to call a success ripple. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond. Starting with one win sends ripples of positivity into the rest of your day. It gives you energy, confidence, and momentum. Success builds on success, and that's why eating your frog first is such a magical move. One hard win early in the day makes you feel like you can handle anything else life throws your way. Now, sometimes frogs feel overwhelming because they're so big, right? Maybe it's not just one task, it's a project with multiple steps. Here's where a little planning magic comes in handy. Break it down. Picture your frog as a pizza. Would you try to eat the whole thing in one bite? Of course not. You cut it into slices and take it one bite at a time. The same applies to big tasks. Write down all the steps, no matter how small they seem. Then, tackle one slice at a time. Before you know it, that giant frog is gone, and you've crushed the task without feeling overwhelmed. Remember, the more you write, the easier it flows. So don't be afraid to put those steps on paper. Let me tell you a quick story. Once, there was a man named James who had a lot on his plate. He was stressed because his to-do list kept getting longer every day, and he felt stuck. Then, someone introduced him to the "eat that frog" concept. James started small, just one frog each morning. At first, it wasn't easy. He had to train himself to stop avoiding the tough stuff. But something amazing happened. Every day he ate his frog, his to-do list got shorter, his confidence grew, and he began to feel unstoppable. Within a few months, he wasn't the same person anymore. Eating that frog transformed James's life, and it can transform yours too. So, if he could do it, why not you? Here's something powerful to keep in mind. Discipline beats motivation. I know it's tempting to wait for that magical spark of inspiration to get started, but let me tell you a little secret. Not even the most successful people feel motivated all the time. What sets them apart is discipline. Discipline is that voice that says, "I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway." And guess what? Once you get started, motivation tends to show up afterward. Weird, right? You don't need to feel motivated to eat your frog. You just need to take the first bite. The more you practice discipline, the calmer you feel, and the more consistently you'll win every single day. How about another practical tip? Let's talk about deadlines. Deadlines are like magic wands for productivity. Without a deadline, a task can stretch on forever, but with a clear time limit, it becomes urgent and achievable. If your frog doesn't already come with a deadline, set one for yourself. Make it specific, like, "I'll finish this by 10 a.m." Your brain loves clear targets, and creating a mental finish line makes it easier to push through resistance. Even better, if it's a really tough task, promise yourself something special when you meet the deadline. It could be as simple as a hot cup of tea or 10 minutes of relaxation. Pairing deadlines with rewards keeps you locked in and moving forward. Now let's tackle something many people struggle with: saying no. Yes, saying no is a skill, and one of the most important skills you can develop if you want to stay productive. Here's why. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. So, if you're constantly saying yes to small, unimportant tasks creeping into your day, guess what? You're pushing your big, important frog further down the list. That's not fair to you. Practice saying no to distractions, interruptions, and things that don't align with your goals. Protect your time like it's gold, because it is. And you know what? You're already proving something incredible to yourself right now. You're dedicating time to learn, grow, and improve. And that's not something everyone does. You're rewiring your mind, redefining your habits, and reshaping the way you approach challenges. Before you know it, eating frogs will feel as natural as breathing, and you'll laugh at how far you've come. Ready for more? There's still plenty of wisdom to uncover, and this journey is just getting better and better. Let's talk about decision-making. Did you know that one of the biggest reasons we avoid eating our frogs is because we're stuck in indecision? Should I do this now or later? Is this the right way? Should I focus on this task or that one? Indecision costs you time and drains your energy. But here's the trick. Don't overthink it. Make a choice and stick with it. The more decisions you make, the better you get at it. If you waste time debating with yourself, you'll never get started, and that frog will just keep staring back at you. Remember this, you don't have to get it perfect, you just have to get it going. Here's a fun little phrase to remember. 2-minute rule. If there's a part of your frog that can be done in 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. Don't let those tiny steps pile up and turn into something scary. For example, if your frog involves writing a long email, start by drafting just the opening sentence. It'll take less than 2 minutes, and suddenly you've gotten the wheels turning. This works because action creates momentum. Even the smallest action feels productive, and once you begin, it's easier to keep going. So, when in doubt, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now that takes 2 minutes? Then jump in. Now, let's uncover a hidden truth about frogs. They thrive in clutter. Yup, if your desk, workspace, or mind is cluttered, your frogs seem bigger than they actually are. Think of clutter like fog. It makes everything harder to see, harder to start, and harder to finish. That's why an organized space equals an organized mind. Spend a few minutes each day clearing your workspace. File away the mess, get rid of distractions, or organize your tools. You'll feel a surge of clarity, and suddenly, taking that first bite of your frog won't feel so overwhelming. Trust me, a tidy environment really is your secret weapon. Speaking of clarity, let's talk about planning. You've probably heard the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail, right? It's true. A clear plan is your map. It shows you exactly where to go and how to get there. Start your day, or even the night before, by taking 5 minutes to plan. Write down your tasks and circle that one big frog. This isn't just about making lists. It's about getting your mind laser-focused on what matters most. And here's an extra tip. Don't overstuff your to-do list. Keep it short and realistic so you feel good about what you can accomplish. Focus on quality, not quantity. Let's shift gears for a moment. Can I challenge you? Starting tomorrow, promise yourself one no-zero day. What's that, you ask? A no-zero day simply means doing something every single day toward your goals, even if it's small. Didn't have time to eat the whole frog? No problem. Take just one bite. Wrote 2 sentences instead of the whole essay? That's still progress. No matter what, don't let the day end with 0 progress. A little goes a long way. And the coolest part? No-zero days help you build momentum, so taking action becomes second nature. Give it a try. You'll be amazed at how consistent progress feels like magic over time. Now, let's mix in a pinch of inspiration, shall we? Think of someone you admire, whether it's a successful entrepreneur, artist, athlete, or even a family member. Do you know what they all have in common? They don't shy away from frogs. In fact, successful people eat the biggest frogs of all. Why? Because they know that big tasks lead to big wins. They don't let fear or procrastination hold them back. They face it head on. And guess what? You're just as capable. The more frogs you face, the more fearless you become. Every time you conquer one, you're joining the ranks of people who take bold steps toward their dreams. Here's a little mantra to keep in your back pocket. Progress, not perfection. Say it with me. Progress, not perfection. It's not about doing everything flawlessly or completing every single thing on your list. It's about moving forward, even if it's one step at a time. Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and every little bit counts. Keep reminding yourself that mistakes and setbacks are okay. They're part of the process. What matters most is that you're showing up, trying, and growing. You're already doing an amazing job just by being here and learning. Have you ever noticed how your mood improves after completing a big, tough task? That's not just luck. It's a chemical reaction in your brain. When you eat your frog, your brain rewards you by releasing feel-good chemicals like dopamine. That's why checking something important off your list feels so satisfying. It's like your brain is giving you a high five. The cool part? The more frogs you conquer, the more often you get that little boost of happiness and accomplishment. It's like turning hard work into a natural mood lifter. Keep that in mind the next time you're tempted to procrastinate. On the other side of your frog is that amazing feeling of achievement just waiting for you. Now let's talk about a little productivity trap. Multitasking. You know the feeling. You're juggling 3 tasks at once, trying to answer emails, listen to a podcast, and maybe even text a friend. It feels like you're busy, but here's the truth. Multitasking doesn't make you more productive. In fact, it slows you down because your brain has to switch gears every time you change tasks. Think of your brain like a car engine. It runs smoother when it's focused on one road. So, when it's time to eat your frog, go all in. Shut down those extra tabs, silence your devices, and give all your attention to just one thing. Trust me, the clearer your focus, the faster the job gets done. And here's a secret. The more you focus, the faster you improve. Let's revisit something simple but powerful. Momentum. Getting started is always the hardest part, right? But once you've taken the first bite out of that frog, it gets easier to keep going. Think of it like pushing a snowball. At first, it takes effort to get it rolling, but once it picks up speed, it practically rolls on its own. Momentum works the same way with tasks. If starting feels tough, just focus on doing one small thing. Before you know it, you'll be in the zone, and the rest will feel natural. Let me throw a question your way. Do you know your peak hours? Everyone has a time of day when their energy and focus are at their best. For some, it's early in the morning. For others, it's mid-afternoon or even late at night. Your peak hours are golden because that's when your brain is naturally sharper. If you can, schedule your most important tasks, your frogs, during those hours. It's like using secret superpowers to make life easier. Pay attention to when you feel most alert and productive and guard that time like a treasure. Now for a fun little thought experiment. What would your life look like if you ate just one frog every day for a month? Picture it. 30 days, 30 important tasks completed. How much lighter would you feel? How much more successful and confident would you be? Pretty incredible, right? The magic of eating the frog isn't just about one day. It's about building a habit that transforms your life over time. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't anything extreme or impossible. It's just one action, one decision, one step, every single day. Success isn't about giant leaps. It's about consistent, steady progress. Here's a dose of inspiration to keep you going. Did you know some of the most successful people in history were masters at eating their frogs? Albert Einstein started his mornings by tackling the hardest problems, knowing his mind was sharpest earlier in the day. Oprah Winfrey has talked about prioritizing her most impactful tasks to stay focused on her larger goals. Even professional athletes train early in the day, knocking out their most grueling workouts first. What's the common thread here? They all had frogs, and they all knew one thing. Putting the hardest task first paves the way for greatness. If they can do it, so can you. You're building those same habits right now, and that's absolutely incredible. And let's not forget about something super important: self-compassion. Eating frogs isn't always easy. Some days you'll feel like you're in the groove, ready to take on anything. Other days, it'll feel like climbing a mountain, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Productivity isn't about doing it all, it's about doing what matters. If you slip up or miss a frog one day, don't beat yourself up. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do differently tomorrow? Small adjustments, small improvements, they add up. The fact that you're even trying means you're already ahead of the game. One last gem for this chunk. Surround yourself with positivity. The people, ideas, and environment you expose yourself to will either lift you up or drag you down. Find people who cheer you on, motivate you, and inspire you to grow. Watch or listen to things that make you feel excited, focused, and ready to tackle the world. When you build a positive bubble around yourself, even the toughest frogs feel smaller, and your journey gets a whole lot brighter. Let's start with the mindset of responsibility. Owning your time and choices is a game changer. Think about this. When you decide to eat your frog, you're saying, I'm in control of my life. No one else can prioritize your tasks or do the hard work for you. It's all on you, and that's a powerful thing. Once you take responsibility for how you spend your time, magic starts to happen. There's no more blaming distractions, bad days, or outside forces. Instead, you shift into action mode. I have a frog. I'm going to handle it. Let's go. It's empowering to realize how much of your success is in your own hands. Now, let's uncover another sneaky productivity killer: overcommitment. Sometimes we overload ourselves, taking on way too much, and all those little commitments quickly feel like a mountain. When your schedule gets out of control, your frogs can get lost in the chaos. Stop and think. What truly deserves your time? Learn to say no to things that don't align with your goals. Saying no isn't selfish. It's smart. It frees up your time and energy to focus on what really matters. Your frogs are your priority, not the endless stream of trivial requests or distractions that demand your attention. Speaking of frogs, let's talk about effort. Frogs don't always need to be perfect. Here's a great trick. Aim for the 80-20 rule. This means 80% of your results often come from just 20% of your effort. For example, if you're working on a project, there are likely a few key actions that make the biggest impact. Focus on those first. Don't lose hours trying to polish every little detail when the core work is enough to move things forward. Progress beats perfection every time. Eating your frog doesn't mean you have to devour it perfectly. It just means you have to tackle it. Now let me tell you something exciting about confidence. The more frogs you eat, the more confidence you'll build. Not just about your productivity, but about yourself as a whole. Completing hard tasks proves to your brain that you're capable, reliable, and powerful. Think of each success as stacking bricks. Every time you eat a frog, you're laying down another brick in the foundation of your self-confidence. Day by day, task by task, you're building a towering wall of capability. Soon, even the biggest challenges will feel manageable because you've proven to yourself that you can handle them. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Let's shift gears and make this journey a little more fun. Have you ever thought about turning eating frogs into a game? Gamifying your productivity can make it rewarding and exciting. Here's how. Create frog points. Every time you complete a tough task, award yourself points. Harder tasks? More points. At the end of the week, reward yourself based on your score. Maybe you treat yourself to a special coffee or spend time doing something you love. This little system has a surprising effect. It pushes your brain to chase those points, turning productivity into something engaging. Who said success can't be fun? Remember, you're human. Some frogs will take time. Others might feel impossible at first. That's where persistence comes in. Even if you can't finish a task all at once, keep chipping away. Give yourself grace, but keep showing up. Small efforts every day lead to giant results. This is the magic of momentum. Those tiny, consistent actions are like drops of water carving through a stone. Over time, they make an impact that seems unbelievable. The more you practice patience, the calmer you feel. Don't give up. Each step forward matters, no matter how small it seems. Here's another golden nugget for you. Celebrate your wins. You've probably heard that before, but let's break it down. Celebrating isn't just about feeling good. It's about training your brain to crave success. A simple, yes, I did it, or treating yourself to something small after eating a frog reinforces the habit. It creates a link in your mind. Hard work equals good feelings. Don't skip this part. Too often we complete tasks and immediately focus on what's next without pausing to recognize how far we've come. Take a moment to look back and appreciate your effort. You deserve it. And hey, let's remind ourselves of something important. Life's not all about frogs either. Sure, productivity is key, but life is also about balance. Give yourself permission to rest when needed, refuel your energy, and enjoy the process. Productivity is a tool to help you create space for the things you truly love, your hobbies, relationships, and passions. Take care of yourself because a well-rested, happy you is far more effective at eating frogs than a worn-out, stressed version of yourself. So, let's start by asking, what's your frog when it comes to learning English? Maybe it's speaking out loud because you're afraid of making mistakes. Maybe it's writing long sentences or doing grammar exercises that feel boring or overwhelming. Maybe it's something as simple as starting, because the idea of becoming fluent feels like climbing a mountain. Guess what? Learning English is just like eating frogs. That big, scary task you've been avoiding is exactly what you should focus on first. It's like this. If you tackle the hardest parts of language learning early, everything else starts to feel easier. For example, let's say you want to improve your speaking skills. It might feel intimidating to have a conversation, but if you eat that frog and just begin, by recording yourself speaking, practicing with a friend, or even talking to yourself in the mirror, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment that pushes you forward. The secret with English, just like with productivity, is to start right where you are, with one small action. Whether it's learning 5 new words today or writing 1 short paragraph in English, get your momentum rolling. Little by little, those small tasks build fluency, confidence, and skill. And here's a fun connection. English learners often procrastinate because they fear making mistakes. Sound familiar? You avoid using certain words because you're not sure if they're correct. You delay speaking because you're worried about your accent or grammar. But here's the truth. Nothing will ever be perfect, and that's okay. Learning English is about progress, not perfection. Just like eating frogs, you only need to take the first bite. Even if you stumble over words or make a mistake, you're still moving forward. And remember, the more you practice, the clearer it gets. Don't aim for flawless. Aim for improvement. Here's another way eating frogs can help you with English. For many learners, the hardest part is listening and understanding native speakers. It can feel like a big, scary frog, right? But if you tackle it head-on, by watching short videos, listening to podcasts, and even slowing down content to catch every word, you train your ears bit by bit. Start with something manageable, like 5 minutes of listening daily, and build from there. Soon, what once felt impossible starts to feel natural. Learning any language takes time, but consistency, like we've said before, is the key. The more you listen, the clearer it gets. And let's not forget about vocabulary. Sometimes building vocabulary feels like an endless pile of frogs. And yes, that can feel overwhelming. But here's the trick. Don't try to memorize everything all at once. Focus on the most important and common words first. These are your big frogs when it comes to language. Learn a small group of words and use them in sentences throughout the day. Write them, say them, think about them. That's how you make them stick. Once those words feel natural, move on to the next group. Eat one vocabulary frog at a time, and your fluency grows stronger day by day. Remember, the more you read, the stronger your vocabulary becomes. Now let's circle back to confidence, because it plays such a huge role in everything from eating frogs to conquering English. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the task itself, it's believing that you're capable of doing it. Let's take speaking English as an example. You think, what if I mess up? What if they laugh at me? Those thoughts can be paralyzing. But here's the good news. Confidence is built through facing what feels hard, not avoiding it. Speak even when it feels scary. Write even when you're unsure. Every little effort builds your confidence like stacking bricks. And remember this, the more you speak, the more confident you feel. Can I share a little motivation with you? By taking the time to embrace your frogs, whether it's learning English, accomplishing a hard task, or practicing discipline, you're already setting yourself apart. Many people let procrastination win. They dream but don't act. Not you. You're here, you're learning, and you're growing. Every English word you learn, every challenging phrase you try, every tricky grammar point you figure out, that's you becoming unstoppable. The effort you're putting in today will make future you extremely proud. Oh, and speaking of effort, celebrate the small wins, especially with learning English. Learned 10 new words? Take a moment to cheer yourself on. Finished listening to an English conversation and actually understood it? That's awesome, and you should feel good about it. When you celebrate progress, no matter how small, you trick your brain into craving more. And soon enough, learning won't feel like a chore. It'll feel like an achievement that you look forward to every day. Here's the best takeaway. Eating frogs isn't just about productivity or learning English. It's a mindset shift. It's about prioritizing what really matters, taking action even when it's uncomfortable, and viewing challenges as opportunities to grow. This mindset doesn't just apply to your to-do lists or language skills. It applies to everything: your career, your relationships, your health, and your dreams. The more you challenge yourself to face the hard stuff, the easier everything else becomes. So, here we are at the end of this journey. And look how far you've come. You've learned how to tackle life's challenges with courage. You've discovered how small efforts lead to big changes. And best of all, you've connected this idea to something meaningful, whether it's learning English or leveling up in life. You've got everything you need now. All that's left is to begin. Go find your frog, take that first bite, and watch how your confidence and success grow with every step. Remember, the more you learn, the more capable you become. You've got this. Every challenge you face is just another chance to grow stronger. Now go out there and start eating those frogs one bite at a time.